There is something quietly remarkable about the most common bird on Earth. Welcome to Sleepy Science. Tonight, we are going to spend some time with chickens. And I think, by the end, you may find that you have never really looked at one before. If you enjoy this kind of slow, gentle exploration, it would mean a lot if you liked this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you ever want to help keep these videos going, you can find the Sleepy Science Patreon in the description below. Leave a comment too with what topic you would like next. Now, let us begin. There are more chickens alive on Earth right now than any other bird. Somewhere around 33 billion of them. Let that settle for a moment. 33 billion. For every single human being walking the surface of this planet, there are roughly 4 chickens. They outnumber us, quietly, in barns and fields and backyards, all across the world. And yet we rarely stop to think about them as creatures, as animals with lives and habits, and small, particular ways of being. Tonight, we are going to slow all the way down and do exactly that. The chicken, in its scientific name, is called Gallus, Gallus domesticus. That word Gallus is Latin. It means rooster or cock. And that small word carries a long history inside it, because the chicken has been walking beside human beings for a very long time indeed. The story of how they came to be domesticated takes us back roughly 8,000 years to the dense and humid jungles of what we now call Southeast Asia. In those forests, a wild bird called the red jungle fowl was living its ordinary life, scratching through the leaf litter, calling from the branches, roosting at dusk in the trees. And at some point, in some village, in some way that no one recorded, the relationship between that bird and the people nearby began to change. It is a quiet kind of history, not the kind with battles or borders, just the slow, daily closeness of a creature and a community growing more comfortable with each other over many, many generations. The red jungle fowl, Gallus, is considered the primary ancestor of every chicken alive today. You can still find them in the wild, moving through the undergrowth of South and Southeast Asia, looking remarkably like a sleeker, wilder version of the birds you might see in a farmyard. The males are vivid, feathers of deep orange and green and black, a bright red comb, a tail that arches and falls like a small wave. The females are soft brown, patterned in warm, tawny tones, almost invisible in the dappled forest light. There is something peaceful in the thought that every domestic chicken in the world carries the genetics of that jungle bird inside it. That somewhere deep in the biology of a hen, scratching around in a garden, in the Netherlands or Nigeria or New Zealand, there is still the ghost of a wild creature, listening for predators in the green dark. Now, when most people think about where chickens came from, they think about the jungle. But the real origin story goes back much, much further than that. All birds are the living descendants of dinosaurs. Not distantly, not metaphorically, directly. The birds we see today are theropod dinosaurs that survived the Great Extinction 66 million years ago. And among the closest living relatives of the non-avian dinosaurs, creatures like Tyrannosaurus rex, birds like the chicken rank quite high. There is something quietly extraordinary about that. The small, round, clucking bird that pecks at seeds in the yard is, in a real and meaningful sense, a dinosaur. A feathered, warm-blooded, breathing, living dinosaur going about its small and peaceful day. You can actually see the dinosaur legacy if you look at a chicken's feet. Those scaled, clawed toes, 3 forward and 1 back, are almost identical in structure to the feet of many ancient theropods. The scales on a chicken's leg are made of the same material as a reptile's scales, and the way a chicken holds its body, slightly forward, weight balanced over the feet, hips high, that posture would have looked perfectly natural on a small 2-legged dinosaur walking through a Cretaceous forest. The shape of deep time is still present in every chicken that has ever lived. Chickens were not always kept for food. This is worth pausing on. The earliest evidence of chicken domestication suggests that people kept them for cockfighting and for religious purposes. Not for eggs, not for meat. The chicken was a sacred and combative animal, long before it was a culinary one. Archaeological evidence from ancient China and from sites across South Asia points to chickens being used in ritual contexts, as offerings, as omens, as living symbols of something powerful in the world beyond the everyday. In many ancient cultures, the rooster's crow was understood as the force that called the sun into the sky. Not merely a signal of dawn, but the cause of it. That crow was sacred. That bird was sacred. And perhaps that reverence makes a certain sense, even now. There is something about the sound of a rooster at dawn, even heard faintly, even from a distance, that feels ancient, like something in your body recognizes it. Long before alarm clocks, long before electric light, the crow of the rooster was one of the first sounds a sleeping human being would hear each morning of their life. For thousands of years, generation after generation, the sound of that call was woven into the rhythm of human existence. It is not a surprise that people built stories around it. The chicken spread from its origins in Southeast Asia with remarkable patience and steadiness. By around 2,000 years before the Common Era, chickens had reached the Indian subcontinent. A few centuries later, they were in Persia, in Egypt, moving slowly westward along the trade routes that connected the ancient world. By the time of classical Greece and Rome, chickens were deeply familiar. The Romans, in particular, kept chickens in large numbers, and they also believed that chickens could predict the future. Yes, really. Roman armies traveled with sacred chickens, tended by a keeper called a Pularius. Before a major battle or decision, the chickens would be offered grain. If they ate eagerly, that was a good omen. If they refused to eat, or ate without enthusiasm, It was considered a warning from the gods. There is a story told by more than one ancient writer of a Roman general who grew so frustrated with his sacred chickens refusing to eat before a sea battle that he threw them overboard, saying that if they would not eat, they could drink. He lost the battle. Chickens reached the Americas much later, brought by European explorers and settlers, beginning in the late 1400s. Though there is a quieter and more intriguing possibility that some chickens may have arrived in South America earlier, carried by Polynesian voyagers, centuries before Columbus. The evidence is not conclusive, but bone fragments and genetic traces hint at a story of long-distance seafaring and a small, calm bird crossing the vast Pacific Ocean on a wooden canoe. The chicken, it seems, has always been a traveler. Now let us come closer. Let us think about the bird itself. What is a chicken really? From the inside out? One of the first things worth knowing is that chickens are significantly more intelligent than they are usually given credit for. Research in animal cognition over the past few decades has revealed that chickens have a rich inner world in ways that were not previously understood. They can count, not in the way you can, not with numbers and language, but with a basic numerical sense. They can track small quantities and understand that more is more. Very young chicks, just a few days old, have been shown in experiments to prefer a larger group of objects to a smaller one, and to track which group is larger, even when items are hidden and moved around. That is a cognitive feat that many people would not expect from a bird that has been alive for only a handful of days. Chickens also have a sense of time, not in a vague, general way, but in a surprisingly precise way. They appear to have an understanding that the world continues to exist even when they cannot see it, what researchers call object permanence. If you hide an object from a young chick, the chick will search for it. It knows the object did not disappear. It just went somewhere. This was once considered a skill, unique to certain primates, and very young human babies do not reliably demonstrate it. Baby chickens can. That small, fluffy, newly hatched creature has already built a model of a persistent world inside its mind. Chickens have been shown to demonstrate self-control, the ability to resist an immediate reward in order to receive a greater reward later. This is often called delayed gratification, and it is considered a sign of higher cognitive function. In studies, chickens learn to wait a few seconds, rather than pecking at a light immediately, in order to get a longer period of access to food. They could learn this, and they could remember it, and they could apply it. The chicken waiting patiently in the yard may be exercising a form of self-discipline that we rarely pause to notice. There is a social complexity to chickens as well, one that has given rise to a phrase that has entered our everyday language: the pecking order. You have probably heard that expression. It refers to a hierarchy, a ranked structure within a group, and it comes directly from chickens. In a flock, individual birds establish a clear social ranking through a combination of displays, physical contests, and memory. Once the hierarchy is established, it tends to be stable. The highest-ranked bird gets first access to food and preferred roosting spots. The lower-ranked birds know their place and generally do not challenge those above them. Crucially, chickens remember who is above them and who is below them, and they remember this as individuals. They recognize each other. They recognize faces. They can remember the faces of more than 100 other chickens and keep track of where each one sits in the social order. That is not nothing. That is a rich and functional social memory, operating quietly, in every flock, every day. Chickens communicate with each other through a vocabulary of sounds that is more nuanced than most people realize. Researchers have identified somewhere around 30 distinct vocalizations that chickens use in different contexts. There are alarm calls that vary depending on the type of threat. One sound for an aerial predator, like a hawk, and a different sound for a ground predator, like a fox. Other chickens in the flock respond differently to each call, looking up when they hear the aerial alarm, or crouching and scattering when they hear the ground alarm. This is not instinct alone. Studies have shown that chickens learn and refine these calls through experience and observation. There are food calls, sounds that roosters make to draw hens' attention to a food source, even if no food is present. There are contact calls, contentment sounds, distress calls, the particular murmuring that a hen makes while she sits on her nest. A flock of chickens is not silent. It is a place of constant, quiet conversation. The mother hen begins speaking to her chicks before they are even born. While the eggs are still incubating, still closed and warm beneath her, she clucks softly to them, and the chicks inside the eggs respond. You can hear them if you listen closely enough. Tiny peeping sounds coming from within the shell, answering their mother. The chick and the hen are already in conversation before the egg has cracked open. There is something in that feels tender and ancient and worth knowing. Hens have been shown to display what scientists call empathic responses. In one study, when chicks were exposed to a mild puff of air, enough to cause mild distress, their mother hens showed clear physiological signs of stress as well. Elevated heart rate, reduced eye temperature, increased alertness. The hens were not in direct danger. They were simply watching their chicks experience something unpleasant. And they responded as though something was happening to them personally. That response, feeling something of what another feels, is the beginning of empathy. The mother hen watching over her chicks is not merely performing a biological function. She is, in some meaningful sense, caring. The egg, of course, is one of the most quietly perfect structures in nature. Its shape is a marvel of engineering, perfectly smooth from the outside, an arch that distributes pressure evenly in every direction, which is why an egg can bear so much weight when pressed from the top and bottom, yet breaks so easily when tapped from the side. The strength of an egg depends on the direction of the force applied. A hen sitting on her eggs does not break them because her weight is distributed across the top of each shell. but a chick pecking its way out from inside. Tapping at the wall from within, breaks through with relative ease. The egg is built to be a shelter and a door at the same time. The shell of an egg is made of calcium carbonate, the same mineral that makes up coral, limestone, and the shells of sea creatures. It is porous, covered in thousands of tiny holes, too small to see with the naked eye, through which air and moisture pass, while the chick develops inside. A developing egg breathes. Not through lungs, not yet, but through those tiny pores in the shell. Oxygen drifting in and carbon dioxide drifting out. A slow and quiet exchange with the air around it. Life, preparing for itself, breathing gently through a wall of calcium. Inside the egg, the development of a chick is one of the most precise and beautiful processes in biology. On the first day after fertilization, the embryo is barely a cluster of cells. By the end of the third day, a tiny heart is beating, smaller than the tip of a pen, but already pumping. By around the seventh day, the embryo has eyes, dark spots visible through a candling light, and tiny wings folded against its sides. By day 14, it has feathers forming on its skin, the beak hardening, the lungs preparing. And on around day 21, depending slightly on temperature and humidity, the chick turns inside the egg, positions itself, and begins the long and exhausting work of breaking its way out into the world. That first crack in the shell is called pipping, and it is the first physical act of a creature that has never existed before. A newly hatched chick is dry and fluffy within hours. It enters the world wet and exhausted from the effort of breaking its shell, and within a short time, it is bright-eyed and moving, already peeping and exploring. One of the most remarkable things about newly hatched chicks is a process called imprinting. Within the first few hours of life, a chick will attach itself, deeply, powerfully, instinctively, to whatever moving thing it sees first. In nature, that will be its mother. In a research lab, it might be a person, a rubber ball, a moving box. It does not matter. Whatever moves first becomes home. The chick will follow it, call for it, seek warmth near it. That instinct is ancient, hardwired into the brain of a creature that evolved to be immediately mobile and immediately in need of protection. There is something both tender and quietly unsettling about imprinting, this total, unconditional commitment to the first moving thing the world offers. A hen's relationship with her eggs begins before they are laid. Hens spend a great deal of time and care selecting a nest site. They will often try out multiple locations, testing each one, rearranging the nesting material, leaving and returning before they settle. They show a strong preference for privacy, enclosed spaces, dim and covered, which likely reflects the evolutionary pressure to keep eggs hidden from predators. Even in the safest domestic setting, where no predator has ever threatened the flock, a hen will seek out a tucked-away corner. Old instincts run deep. The body remembers what the mind has never had reason to learn. A hen does not need a rooster to lay eggs. This surprises some people. The eggs in your refrigerator, produced by hens kept without roosters, are unfertilized. No chick will ever hatch from them. A hen's body produces an egg roughly every 24 to 26 hours, regardless of whether a rooster is present. It is a biological cycle, independent of mating. The chicken has been selectively bred over centuries to lay with extraordinary frequency. Wild jungle fowl lay perhaps a dozen eggs a year. A modern laying hen can lay around 250 to 300 eggs in a year. That is a difference so vast that the modern laying hen is almost a different kind of animal entirely. The same species, yes, but reshaped so profoundly by human selection that her body does something no wild bird's body was ever meant to do. The color of an eggshell is determined by the breed of the hen, not by what she eats, not by the color of her feathers, but by a pigment deposited on the shell during the final hours before laying. White eggs come from breeds like the Leghorn, which tend to have white earlobes. Brown eggs come from breeds like the Rhode Island Red, which tend to have red earlobes. Yes, chickens have earlobes. Small patches of bare skin just below and behind each ear, and the color of those lobes is a reliable predictor of egg color. Some breeds lay blue or green eggs, the Araucana and Americana chickens among them. In Chile, these breeds were developed centuries ago, and the blue-green eggs they produce were considered lucky. Inside the shell, a blue egg and a white egg are identical. The color is only ever on the surface, a tiny, particular detail that changes nothing but the way the light falls on it. The yolk of an egg is not the embryo. This surprises people sometimes. The yolk is a food source, a concentrated store of nutrients that the developing chick would consume. If the egg were fertilized and incubated, the actual embryo in a fertilized egg is a tiny disc of cells on the surface of the yolk, almost invisible to the naked eye, called the blastodisc. The yolk we eat is not an embryo. It is a food package built by the hen's body to sustain a life that, in most cases, will never begin. The color of an egg yolk varies, and it tells you something about what the hen was eating. A pale, lemon-yellow yolk suggests a diet lower in carotenoids, the pigments found in leafy greens, corn, and marigolds. A deep orange-gold yolk suggests a diet rich in those pigments, which means the hen was spending time outdoors, pecking at grass and insects, and foraging widely. The darkness of a yolk is a small, quiet record of a hen's daily life. A deep orange yolk is a kind of evidence of open fields, of morning light, of a bird walking freely through the damp grass. Chickens are omnivores. They will eat seeds, grains, insects, worms, fruit, frogs, mice, small snakes, and each other if conditions become difficult. In a healthy, free environment, they spend most of their day engaged in a behavior called foraging, scratching at the ground with their feet, then pecking at whatever they uncover. The scratch-peck pattern is deeply ingrained. Even a chicken that has lived its entire life indoors, in a space with no soil, will scratch at a hard floor, because the impulse is that old, that fundamental. It is not something learned. It is something carried. A piece of the bird's long history, expressed in the small and patient motion of a foot against the ground. A chicken's beak is not just a tool for picking up food. It is a sensory organ. The tip of a chicken's beak is densely packed with sensory cells that allow the bird to feel very fine textures, to detect moisture, and to distinguish different types of surfaces with remarkable precision. Chickens can feel the difference between a seed and a pebble of nearly identical size without being able to see which is which. They test everything with that beak, not just food, but textures, objects, the nesting material they arrange beneath themselves. A hen building a nest is not just pushing things around randomly. She is feeling everything she touches, making choices about texture and placement, constructing something that will hold and warm her eggs correctly. Chickens have 3 eyelids. The upper and lower eyelids move vertically, as ours do. But there is also a third lid, called the nictitating membrane, that sweeps horizontally across the eye from the inner corner outward. This thin, semi-transparent film cleans and moistens the eye without blocking vision entirely. It also protects the eye. When a chick hatches, it uses that third eyelid to shield its eyes from dust and fragments of shell. Many other animals have this third eyelid. Cats, dogs, birds, reptiles, sharks. Humans no longer have a functional version, but there is a small pink fold of tissue at the inner corner of each human eye, barely noticeable, which is the vestigial remnant of that ancient third eyelid. A small, quiet echo of a very old design, still present, at the corner of every human gaze. The eyes of a chicken are placed on the sides of its head, unlike the forward-facing eyes of a predator. This gives a chicken a very wide field of vision, nearly 340 degrees around it. It can see almost everything in a circle around its body, without turning its head. But this arrangement comes with a trade-off. Because the eyes are on the sides, they do not overlap much in front. The zone directly in front of a chicken, where both eyes can focus on the same point. The zone of binocular, depth-sensing vision is quite narrow. But to the sides and above, where a hawk might appear, from almost any direction, a chicken sees almost everything. It is a vision built for survival, in a world full of things that want to eat you. And chickens can see in color. In fact, they see in more colors than you do. The human eye has 3 types of color receptors, called cones. A chicken's eye has 4, and one of them is sensitive to ultraviolet light. This means that chickens can see wavelengths of light that are entirely invisible to us. Feathers that look plain brown or white to a human eye may reveal patterns and colors under ultraviolet light that make them look entirely different to another chicken. The world a chicken sees is more colorful than the world you see. Richer, more detailed, lit with an entire spectrum that your eyes simply cannot access. The chicken, looking at you, may be seeing things you will never know. Chickens have a remarkable ability to detect polarized light, light that vibrates in a single plane, as opposed to the scattered light that fills most of the world. This ability helps them navigate, orient themselves, and sense the position of the sun, even through clouds. A chicken standing in a field on a grey morning has a kind of internal compass that helps it know where it is in relation to the sun, information it uses to understand direction and to regulate its internal clock. The light that falls on the chicken tells it what time it is. Even on a cloudy day, the chicken knows. That internal clock in a chicken is called the circadian rhythm, the same biological timer that exists in you. In every creature on Earth, from bacteria to blue whales, there is some version of this internal rhythm, this cycling pattern of activity and rest that follows roughly the length of a day. In chickens, that rhythm is exquisitely calibrated. They wake before sunrise. They begin their social activity as dawn approaches. By the time the sun sets, they are already moving toward their roost. A chicken does not need to be told that darkness is coming. Its body knows. And as the light fades, the flock begins to gather, to jostle gently for position on the roost, and then, one by one, to go still. Roosting is not just a habit. For a chicken, it is a necessity, both physical and psychological. Chickens sleep much more deeply when they are elevated off the ground. The evolutionary logic is clear. A bird that sleeps on the ground is vulnerable. A bird in the branches or on a raised perch is safer. And that ancient logic still governs the chicken's body, even in the safest possible conditions. Give a chicken a perch, and it will use it. Deny it a perch, and you will find it restless and unsettled at night, looking for height, looking for something to stand above the ground on. The need for elevation is written into its biology, in a language older than any breed, any farm, any human relationship. Chickens sleep with a remarkable flexibility of consciousness. They can enter two different states of sleep. Deep sleep, similar to REM sleep in humans, in which the brain is active and dreaming is thought to occur, and slow-wave sleep, in which the brain is quieter and the body recovers. But the most interesting thing is that chickens can engage in something called unihemispheric sleep, sleeping with one half of the brain, while the other half stays awake. When a chicken rests with one eye closed and one eye open, that is exactly what is happening. One hemisphere of the brain is resting, quiet and slow. The other is alert, scanning the environment, watching for danger. The eye connected to the alert hemisphere stays open. The eye connected to the resting hemisphere closes. Chickens at the edge of a roosting flock, the ones most exposed to the outside, tend to sleep with one eye pointed outward, watching. The flock protects itself as a unit, even in sleep. Even in the deep dark of night, part of the flock is always watching. Chickens can dream. Or at least, the neurological evidence suggests they experience REM-like sleep states, during which the brain processes the events of the day. What a chicken dreams of, we can only guess. Perhaps the sharp angle of morning light through a fence post. Perhaps the particular soil beneath a patch of grass, where the worms were good. Perhaps the sound of a hawk overhead, processed and stored, and replayed softly, in the dark behind a closed eyelid. Whatever the content, the architecture of sleep in a chicken is not so different from your own. The same ancient machinery running its quiet repairs through the night. Let us talk about feathers for a moment. They are the defining feature of birds, the thing that makes a bird a bird. More than wings, more than beaks, more even than the ability to fly. Feathers are evolutionary masterworks. They are made of keratin, the same protein that makes up your fingernails, and the scales on a lizard's skin. But what keratin can become, in the context of a feather, is something quite different from a fingernail. A single flight feather has a central shaft, with hundreds of barbs branching from it. Each barb has hundreds of barbules branching from it, and each barbule has tiny hooks, called barbicels, that interlock with the hooks of neighboring barbules. These interlocking hooks create a flat, aerodynamic surface out of what is essentially a mesh of tiny threads. And when a feather gets ruffled, a bird can run its beak through it and re-zip all those tiny hooks back into place, which is exactly what preening is. Preening is maintenance, a careful, patient, daily act of putting the world back in order. A chicken has thousands of feathers. Estimates vary, but somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 on a typical adult bird. They are not all the same. Contour feathers define the shape of the body. Down feathers, the soft, fluffy ones closest to the skin, provide insulation. Semi-plume feathers fill in the spaces between. Phyloplume feathers are almost hair-like, and they are sensory. They help the bird feel the position of its other feathers and make micro-adjustments for flight or temperature regulation. A chicken, in other words, is covered in a system, a living, sensory, thermally managed, aerodynamically refined system that is continually being maintained, feather by feather, day by day. Chickens molt once a year, or sometimes more than once. A chicken sheds its old feathers and grows new ones. Molting typically happens in autumn, triggered by the shortening days. During molt, a hen often stops laying eggs because the body is redirecting its protein resources from egg production to feather production. A molting chicken does not look its best. It may appear patchy, sparse, ragged around the edges. The new feathers emerging as small, tight rolls called pin feathers, each one sheathed in a waxy casing that peels away as the feather opens. Growing new feathers takes energy, and so a molting chicken tends to be quieter, slower, a little withdrawn. It is doing something demanding and internal, something that requires patience and time. Breeds of chickens are extraordinarily varied. There are thought to be somewhere around 500 recognized breeds of domestic chicken in the world today, though some sources count more depending on how you define a breed. They vary enormously in size, shape, color, temperament, and purpose. At one extreme, there is the Jersey Giant, a breed that can weigh up to 13 pounds. A vast, slow-moving, deeply calm bird that was developed in the late 1800s in New Jersey as an alternative to turkey. At the other extreme, there is the Surama, a breed from Malaysia, so small that it is often called the world's smallest chicken breed, with roosters sometimes weighing less than a pound. A fully grown Surama can be held comfortably in one hand. It stands upright in a distinctive posture, chest forward, tail high, wings held slightly back, projecting an air of extraordinary dignity for something that weighs roughly the same as an apple. There are chickens with feathers on their feet, Cochins, Brahmas, Faverolles, breeds that carry feathering all the way down their legs and over their toes, giving them an appearance somewhere between a farmyard bird and a creature wearing soft boots. There are chickens with feathered crests on their heads. The Polish breed, with its extraordinary explosion of feathers rising from the top of the skull, like a bird wearing a hat, made of itself. There are chickens with 5 toes instead of 4. The Dorking, the Faverolles, the Sultan, a variation that appears in certain breeds, for reasons that are not entirely clear, but that have been maintained through selective breeding for generations. 5 toes, where 4 would do. A small excess, preserved by human preference for hundreds of years. There are chickens with naked necks, a breed called simply the naked neck, or sometimes the Turken, which has no feathers on its neck at all, the bare skin exposed and reddish, giving it an appearance some people find striking and others find peculiar. The breed is thought to have originated in Transylvania, and it is highly heat tolerant. The lack of neck feathers means the bird can lose heat more easily through that bare skin. It is a practical adaptation, even if it is not the most conventionally beautiful design. There are frizzle chickens, whose feathers curl outward and upward, instead of lying flat, the result of a gene that affects feather shaft structure, giving the bird an appearance of perpetual windswept surprise. And there are silky chickens, perhaps the most remarkable of all in terms of feather texture, whose feathers lack the barbicels that normally interlock and hold a feather together. As a result, a silky's feathers do not form a smooth surface. They are soft and separate, like silk, like fur, like something you want to touch. The silky looks less like a bird and more like a small, white, cloud that wandered into the yard and decided to stay. Silkies also have black skin and black bones. Not just dark, black. Their skin, their connective tissue, their muscles, their organs, even their bones are a dark, almost charcoal black due to a condition called fibromelanosis, an overproduction of melanin that pigments every layer of tissue. In Chinese cuisine, silky chickens are used in a traditional soup called wuji bai feng tang, sometimes called black-bone chicken soup, which has been made for centuries and is considered to have warming, nourishing properties. The first written accounts of the silky in European literature come from Marco Polo, who described a chicken with black flesh during his travels in the 13th century, and who seems to have found this as surprising and interesting as most people still do. A black-boned bird, walking on feathered feet, soft as a cloud. It sounds almost invented, but it has been here all along. Let us spend a moment on the comb. The comb, that fleshy red structure on top of a chicken's head, is not merely decorative, though it certainly contributes to the bird's appearance. The comb is packed with blood vessels and plays an important role in thermoregulation, helping the chicken release excess heat. In warm weather, blood flows through the comb, releases heat to the air, and returns to the body cooler. The size and color of the comb is also a signal. A large, vivid red comb on a rooster indicates health, good circulation, and vitality. Hens assess roosters partly by comb quality. A pale or shrunken comb can indicate illness or stress. The comb is, in a sense, a living display. A health status update, worn at the top of the head, visible to every member of the flock, at all times. There are multiple comb types in chickens. The single comb, the familiar serrated ridge, is the most common. But there are also rose combs, flat and broad with a small spike at the back. Pea combs, low and three-ridged, close to the head. Walnut combs, compact and lumpy like a walnut shell. Strawberry combs, cushion combs, V-shaped combs. Each is characteristic of particular breeds, shaped by generations of selective breeding, for appearance or cold hardiness or simply human preference. Breeds in very cold climates tend to have smaller, lower combs. The single comb, with its tall projecting tips, is vulnerable to frostbite. A low rose comb, or pea comb, stays closer to the warmth of the head and is far less likely to freeze. The comb carries geography in its shape, a record of the climates where a breed was developed, written in flesh and blood, at the top of the skull. The wattles, those fleshy lobes hanging below the beak, serve a similar function to the comb. Thermoregulation, display, and health signaling. Roosters typically have larger wattles than hens. The earlobes, as mentioned, predict egg color, and then there is the cirri, the fleshy area at the base of the beak, and the spur, present in roosters, a hard-pointed growth on the inside of each leg, used in combat and defense. Taken all together, a rooster is a surprisingly elaborate structure. Combs and wattles and earlobes and spurs, a living display that evolved to communicate in every direction at once. Every part of the body, telling the flock something, always. A rooster does not simply crow. The crow is a complex vocalization that varies between individuals. Each rooster has its own particular crow, as distinctive as a voice. If you have lived near multiple roosters, you may have noticed this, that you can tell them apart by sound, even before you see them. Roosters crow for many reasons. To mark territory, to signal the start of the day, to respond to sudden sounds or lights, to communicate their presence to other roosters. But research has shown that the morning crow is also circadian, driven by an internal clock, not only by the arrival of light. Roosters kept in constant dim light still crow at around the same time each day. Their body knows when morning is, even without the sky to confirm it. The rooster calls the dawn, not because the light arrives, but because something inside already knows it is coming. Chickens use their calls differently, depending on who is listening. A rooster who discovers a food source will call more loudly and persistently if a hen is nearby than if he is alone. He adjusts his performance based on his audience, which is a sophisticated social behavior. Hens prefer roosters who call more frequently when food is found. It signals reliability, attentiveness, a willingness to share. And when multiple roosters are in earshot of each other, they engage in calling contests. Each one calling, each one listening, each one responding to the distance and volume of the others, adjusting. The world of a rooster is threaded through with competition and communication that plays out in sound, constantly, from before sunrise to after sunset. There is a breed of chicken called the ayam cemani that takes the silkie's dark pigmentation and extends it to an extraordinary degree. The ayam cemani originates from Indonesia, from the island of Java, and it is entirely, utterly black. Not just the skin and bones, as with the silkie, but the feathers as well. A deep, iridescent black that shimmers green or purple in certain lights, like oil on still water. The comb is black. The wattles are black. The beak is black. The tongue is black. The claws are black. The blood is a deep, dark red, not quite black, but the darkest red you will see. In Indonesian spiritual practices, the ayam cemani has long been considered sacred, its unusual appearance marking it as a creature of power, connected to the spirit world. It is a bird that looks as though it was made of shadow, as though the night settled into feather form and decided to walk around. The genetics of chicken, color, and pattern are wonderfully complex. The interplay of genes determining plumage involves dozens of loci, locations on chromosomes, each of which can carry different variants. Whether a chicken is black, white, gold, silver, blue, barred, laced, mottled, cuckoo, spangled, or penciled. All of these are expressions of that complex genetic conversation. Breeders have spent centuries carefully selecting and crossing birds to produce and maintain particular patterns, some of extraordinary intricacy. The silver-laced Wyandotte, for example, each feather edged in bright white on a dark background, is the product of very specific genetic combinations that took many generations to stabilize. Each feather is a small work of precision, carried by a living creature that has no idea how remarkable it looks. Chickens dust bathe. It is one of the most important natural behaviors they have, and one of the most clearly pleasurable. A chicken dust bathing will find a patch of loose soil, or, in the absence of soil, wood shavings, sand, even dry leaves, and will begin to dig a shallow hollow with its feet. It will crouch down, fluff its feathers, and then systematically work the fine material up into its plumage, shuffling its wings, rolling slightly, rubbing its head along the ground. The dust works its way through the feathers to the skin, where it absorbs excess oil and helps control parasites like mites and lice. After a thorough bath, the chicken shakes itself vigorously, a great cloud of dust rising around it, and then spends several minutes preening, working through every feather with its beak, restoring order. A chicken that has just finished dust bathing has a particular quality of stillness, a relaxed and heavy-eyed calm, as though the bath has washed something away that was not just physical. Chickens sunbathe as well. On a warm, still day, a chicken will find a sunny spot, tilt its body toward the light, spread one wing out flat against the ground, and lie there, eyes closed or half closed, beak slightly open, utterly still. The first time you see a chicken sunbathing, it looks alarming. A bird lying on its side with its wings spread out can look very much like a bird that has died. But it is very much alive. It is simply enjoying the warmth. The solar warmth penetrates the feathers, helps synthesize vitamin D in the skin, and may also help flush out any parasites that dislike heat. A chicken lying in a sunbeam is a creature at ease with the world. There is something deeply restful about watching it, something in that spread wing, and that still, warm, feathered body that communicates something very close to contentment. Chickens show play behavior. Young chicks, especially, they chase each other. They peck at objects out of curiosity. They run for no apparent purpose other than running. Adult chickens have been observed engaging in something researchers describe as object play, pecking at items that are not food, tossing things, interacting with novel objects for extended periods, without any clear goal. Play is considered a sign of cognitive complexity. It requires mental flexibility, an ability to engage with the world beyond immediate survival needs, a capacity for something like curiosity. Chickens, it appears, are curious creatures. They explore, they investigate, they approach new things with a mix of caution and interest that reflects a mind actively engaged with its world. Chickens have been used in scientific research in ways you might not expect. One of the most widely used models in developmental biology is the chicken embryo. Specifically, the chick embryo at various stages of development. Because a fertilized egg can be easily incubated, and because the embryo develops in a sealed but accessible environment, researchers have been able to study the development of the nervous system, the circulatory system, and limb formation in remarkable detail. Much of what we know about how vertebrate bodies form, how the heart begins to beat, how the brain folds and organizes itself, how limbs grow and differentiate, was learned in part from chicken embryos. The humble fertilized egg, sitting in a warm incubator in a laboratory, has contributed to our understanding of life itself in ways that are difficult to overstate. The chicken genome was sequenced in 2004, the first agricultural animal, and the first bird to have its full genetic blueprint mapped. And in doing so, researchers found some remarkable things. The chicken genome shares about 60% of its genes with humans, a reminder of our deep shared ancestry, the common pool of biological instructions that all vertebrates draw from. The differences between a human and a chicken are real and vast, in experience and form, but in the language of DNA, we are reading from many of the same pages. The heart of a chicken beats, with proteins that are similar to the proteins in your heart. The neurons in a chicken's brain use many of the same chemical signals as the neurons in yours. We are more alike, you and the chicken, than the distance between you might suggest. Chickens have contributed to medicine in ways far beyond the laboratory. The flu vaccine, the annual flu shot that millions of people receive each year, has traditionally been grown inside fertilized chicken eggs. The influenza virus is introduced into the egg, allowed to multiply, and then harvested, purified, and used to create the vaccine. Billions of eggs are used in this process annually, across the world. The chicken's egg, a structure evolved over millions of years to incubate a chick, has become one of the most important tools in preventive medicine. Flu seasons pass, millions of vaccinations happen, diseases are blunted, and at the heart of it, quietly, is a chicken. An incubator, a small, warm, feathered factory of enormous medical importance. Some vaccines for other diseases, including certain types of cancer therapy and some antibody treatments, have also historically been produced using chicken eggs. The relationship between human health and the biology of the chicken is longer and deeper than most people realize. We often think of chickens as a food source, but they are also a medicine source, a research tool, a model organism, a contributor to biological knowledge that has shaped our understanding of ourselves. Sitting there in the yard, pecking at the ground, they are also, in some indirect but real sense, keeping people alive. The role of the chicken in human food history is simply enormous. Chickens are now the most widely eaten meat in many parts of the world, and the egg is one of the most versatile and widely consumed foods. across virtually every culture on Earth. But the chicken's centrality to human food is a relatively recent development. Historically speaking, for most of the history of domestication, chickens were kept more for eggs and fighting than for meat. The mass consumption of chicken meat is largely a 20th century phenomenon, made possible by advances in selective breeding, artificial incubation, feed formulation, and large-scale housing that transformed the chicken over a few decades from a familiar farmyard animal into the world's most produced domestic meat. The scale of that shift is difficult to hold in the mind. Within the span of a human lifetime, the chicken went from backyard bird to global food commodity. The broiler chicken, the breed developed specifically for meat production, is one of the most thoroughly transformed animals in history. Through selective breeding since the mid-20th century, broiler chickens have been developed to grow faster, to convert feed to body mass more efficiently, and to develop larger breast muscles than any natural chicken could. A broiler chicken in the 1950s took roughly 16 weeks to reach market weight. Today's broilers reach similar or greater weight in as little as 5 to 6 weeks. The body shape of a modern broiler is quite different from its wild ancestor. The breast is disproportionately large, so large, in some cases, that the birds have difficulty walking and sometimes difficulty breathing. The animal has been shaped so precisely to one purpose that its body barely functions for any other. This is a fact that sits quietly at the edge of all the others, worth acknowledging, worth knowing, without rushing past it. Somewhere around the year 2000, a paleontologist named Andrew Leahy, working on what future creatures might make of our era, noted that the broiler chicken would be an extraordinary fossil if future beings ever found one. Its bones, unlike those of any previous wild chicken, show a creature adapted to an entirely artificial world. Some scientists have suggested that the broiler chicken is a kind of geological marker, evidence of the human age embedded in the earth. The bones of this bird, its shape, its size, its particular proportions, exist nowhere in the natural fossil record. They are new, created in the last few decades. The chicken, in this sense, has become a biological marker of our time. The way the dinosaurs' bones marked their time, the way the ammonites marked theirs. The most common bird on Earth may one day be the fossil that tells another story about what it meant to be alive in this century. Let us move from the large back to the small, back to the individual bird, back to the hen on her nest. On a still evening, there are things about the chicken's experience of the world that are worth holding gently. Research has shown that chickens have a sense of fairness. In studies where one chicken is given a smaller reward for performing the same task as another, who receives a larger reward, the one with the smaller reward becomes reluctant to perform the task at all. Something in the chicken registers the difference. Something notices the inequality. Whether this is truly a sense of fairness in the way a human experiences fairness is a question without a clean answer. But the behavior itself is clear. The chicken that got less behaves differently. It remembers. It responds. Something in it felt wrong. Chickens have individual personalities. Not all chickens are the same, and this is not just a human projection. Researchers studying flocks over time have noted consistent individual differences in temperament. Some birds are bolder, some are more cautious, some are more curious, some are more aggressive, some are more calm. These differences are stable over time. A bold chick tends to grow into a bold adult. A cautious chick tends to remain cautious. And these temperaments affect the social dynamics of the flock. Bold individuals tend to rise in the pecking order, while cautious ones tend to occupy lower positions. The flock is not a uniform entity. It is a collection of individuals, each one carrying its own particular way of being, shaped by both genetics and experience. Just as you are. Just as any living creature is. The lifespan of a chicken, in natural conditions, is perhaps 5 to 10 years, depending on the breed and the circumstances. The oldest verified chicken on record, according to some sources, lived to around 16 years, though the record is difficult to verify. A chicken in a safe, well-cared-for environment, with access to good food, clean water, space to roam, and social companionship, can live a surprisingly long and apparently contented life. Hens, kept as pets, often outlive the years of peak egg production, and simply continue. Dust bathing, foraging, socializing, roosting, growing old slowly in the warmth of a familiar yard. There is a hen in Texas named Muffy, or there was at some point, who was claimed to have lived to 23 years. The records are uncertain, but the idea of a chicken growing old, slowly, in a yard it has known for decades, is a thought worth sitting with. Chickens form bonds. Not just the bond between a hen and her chicks, but bonds between adult birds. Birds that have lived together for an extended period, become familiar with each other in ways that go beyond simple hierarchy. They seek each other out. They rest near each other. They call for each other when separated. Introducing a new bird to an established flock causes disruption, not just because of the hierarchy challenge, but because the familiar social structure has been altered. Something that the birds knew has changed, and they need time to adjust. The flock, like a small community, has its routines, its relationships, its particular way of being together. Disrupting it costs something. Even for a chicken. There are hundreds of breeds of chicken that no longer exist. Varieties developed over centuries, kept and maintained by specific communities, that were lost as agricultural practices changed and commercial breeds came to dominate. The Scots Dumpy, the Campine, the Lachenvelder, the Derbyshire Redcap, breeds with names that carry whole landscapes inside them. Some of them now rare, some now extinct. Chicken breeds are cultural artifacts as much as they are biological ones. They carry the preferences, the needs, the climates, and the aesthetics of the people who developed them. When a breed disappears, a conversation between humans and birds that lasted for generations comes to an end. Something irreplaceable goes quiet, and the world is a little smaller for it. There are breed conservation efforts underway. In many countries, organizations dedicated to maintaining and propagating rare breeds, keeping the genetic diversity of domestic chickens alive. The American Livestock Breeds Conservancy, the Rare Breeds Survival Trust in the United Kingdom, and equivalent groups in other countries maintain flocks of heritage breeds, birds that carry genetics that the commercial industry long since moved past. Some of these old breeds have qualities that commercial lines do not: foraging ability, disease resistance, cold hardiness, traits that could prove valuable. As agricultural conditions change, the old varieties, kept alive in small flocks by dedicated keepers, are a kind of living library, genetics that took centuries to develop, waiting patiently, in case they are needed again. And now, quietly, let us think about chickens and the broader world in a slightly different way. The carbon footprint of chicken meat is significantly lower than that of beef or lamb, roughly 2 to 3 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilogram of meat produced, compared to roughly 27 kilograms for beef. In discussions about food and climate, chicken often appears as a more environmentally moderate choice within the category of animal proteins. Chickens convert feed to body mass efficiently. They require less water per unit of food produced. They produce less methane. The environmental arithmetic, while complex and depending heavily on production method, tends to favor chicken over ruminant animals in terms of planetary cost. This is not a comfortable or simple conversation, but it is a real one, and the chicken sits at the center of it, clucking quietly, unaware. The egg has appeared in creation myths from cultures all over the world. The cosmic egg, the idea that the universe itself began as an egg, that the world cracked open from something enclosed and whole, appears in ancient Finnish mythology, in ancient Hindu cosmology, in Orphic Greek tradition, in ancient Egyptian theology, in Chinese mythology. Cultures separated by oceans and thousands of years arrived at the same image independently. The egg as the beginning, the egg as the source. Perhaps because the egg really does contain something like a universe, a sealed world with everything it needs, quietly becoming, breath by breath, until the moment of opening. The egg is a small eternity, curved in your hand, the oldest shape, telling the oldest story. The question of which came first, the chicken or the egg, is not actually a paradox, if you think about it carefully. The answer, from an evolutionary perspective, is the egg. The first chicken, the first bird that could reasonably be called a chicken, hatched from an egg laid by a bird that was not quite a chicken yet. A genetic mutation occurred somewhere in the egg, during fertilization or development, and the creature that emerged was meaningfully different from its parents. The egg that contained the first chicken was laid by something that was almost, but not quite, a chicken. So the egg came first. The riddle dissolves when you remember that species do not flip like switches. They drift slowly, generation by generation, through gradual change, until at some point something new has arrived. The chicken was not invented. It accumulated, one small change at a time, across thousands of generations, until one morning, something that had never existed before cracked open its shell and stepped into the world. Chickens have appeared in art for as long as art has existed. Depictions of roosters and hens appear in ancient Greek pottery, in Roman mosaics, in medieval illuminated manuscripts, in Japanese woodblock prints. The rooster appears as a symbol in many religious traditions. In Christianity, associated with the story of Peter's denial, and later with the dawn, with vigilance, with the call to worship. In Islam, there is a tradition that the rooster sees the angel at the gate and crows in response, which is why its call is heard before dawn, before any other sound. In Japan, the rooster is associated with the sun goddess Amaterasu, its crow summoning her from the cave of darkness, where she had hidden, and thus restoring light to the world. The rooster as the herald of light, the bird that stands between darkness and day. A role given to it by cultures that never met, across thousands of years, because something in the crow of a rooster at dawn feels like that. The chicken has also given us some of the world's most widespread and beloved dishes. Almost every culinary tradition on earth has something to do with chicken. The French have their coq au vin, slow cooked in wine. The Indians have their butter chicken, their tandoori, their biryani. The Japanese have their yakitori, grilled over charcoal, skewered on bamboo, and karaage, deeply marinated and fried to something golden and tender. The Peruvians have their pollo a la brasa. The Koreans have their dak galbi and their spicy braised chicken. The West Africans have their groundnut stew, the chicken simmering low in peanuts and spices. The Americans have their fried chicken, a dish with roots in both West African and Scottish traditions, brought together in the American South, and now known and loved around the world. Chicken soup, perhaps the dish that appears in more forms, across more cultures, than almost any other. The slow-simmered broth, warm and clear and nourishing, made by every grandmother in every country. Whoever wanted to make something healing out of simple ingredients. And it is not just tradition that recommends chicken soup. Research has actually suggested that chicken soup may have mild anti-inflammatory properties, that the compounds released during the long simmering of bones and vegetables may genuinely help reduce the symptoms of a cold or respiratory illness. The old wisdom, it turns out, has some biochemistry behind it. The soup your grandmother made when you were sick was not just a comfort, it was a kind of medicine, brewed slowly on the stove, steaming quietly, smelling of warmth. Let us talk about the way a chicken moves. the head-bobbing motion that chickens do when they walk. That distinctive forward thrust and then pause, thrust and pause, is not just a quirk. It is a visual stabilization mechanism. A chicken's eyes are on the sides of its head and fixed in its skull. They cannot move the way your eyes move. So in order to track a stable image, while the body is moving, a chicken thrusts its head forward and then holds it still, while the body catches up. Head still, body advances, head thrusts forward, head still again. The image on the chicken's retina remains stable for a fraction of a second longer than it would if the head kept moving. This gives the chicken's brain slightly more time to process what it is seeing. The bob is not a nervous habit. It is vision. Every step a chicken takes is an act of visual computation. Every bob of the head is the bird seeing more clearly. Chickens scratch the ground in a particular pattern. They rake backward with one foot, then peck at what is revealed, then rake with the other foot, then peck again. This pattern is so deeply ingrained that it happens even in absence of food. Scratching and pecking are the default mode of a chicken left alone. They are, essentially, a resting state. What humans do when they doodle or wander, a chicken does by scratching at the ground, the body moving through its most familiar motions, while the mind is elsewhere or simply at ease. There is something almost meditative in it. The slow, repetitive scratching, the peck, the scratch, the peck. A rhythm the chicken returns to, again and again throughout the day, like breathing, like the tide. Chickens are highly sensitive to changes in light. Their breeding cycle, their egg laying, and much of their behavior is regulated by day length, the photoperiod, as it is called. As days grow longer in spring, hens begin or increase their laying. As days shorten in autumn, laying tapers off or stops altogether. In commercial egg production, artificial lighting is used to extend the day length for hens, keeping their bodies in a state of peak laying productivity, regardless of the season outside. The hen does not know it is December. She knows only that the light says it is June, and her body responds accordingly. Light is the language that the seasons speak to living things, and in a commercial henhouse, that language is being written by human hands. The sound of rain on a roof will send a flock of chickens into alert posture, heads raised, eyes skyward, still. Even rain they have heard many times before. Something in the sudden darkening, the sound of water, the change in pressure, registers as potentially significant. Weather awareness is built into the flock. Before a heavy storm, chickens often become restless and return to shelter earlier than usual. Farmers have noted for centuries that the behavior of chickens can signal coming weather, whether they are detecting barometric pressure, electromagnetic changes, or simply reading light and sound with greater sensitivity than we do. The chicken feels the weather coming before it arrives. A small barometer, feathered and clucking, reading the sky. there are chickens that have become famous. Not in a human sense, but in the sense of being remembered, noted, written about. Perhaps the most remarkable is a chicken known as Mike. In 1945, a farmer in Fruita, Colorado, named Lloyd Olson, beheaded a chicken in preparation for a meal. The chicken did not die. Because the blade had missed the jugular vein and left most of the brainstem intact, the body continued to function. The chicken, now known as Miracle Mike, or Mike the Headless Chicken, lived for 18 months after the decapitation. His owner fed him with an eyedropper. He was exhibited around the country. He gained weight. He apparently thrived, given the circumstances, which are admittedly extraordinary. Mike the Headless Chicken has a festival named after him in Fruita, Colorado, held every year in May, celebrating his improbable survival with a carnival and a chicken run, and presumably a great deal of fond bewilderment. Mike is perhaps the most famous chicken in American history, which tells you something about history and perhaps something about chickens too. The mythological chicken, the basilisk, was said in medieval European tradition to hatch from a rooster's egg incubated by a serpent. The basilisk was a creature of terrible power. Its gaze could turn a person to stone. Its breath could wilt plants and split rock. And it began as an egg from a rooster. An egg from a creature that should not lay eggs, incubated by a creature that should not hatch birds. This double wrongness was the source of its power, according to the old stories. The thing born against the rules of nature could break the rules of nature. There is something in that old story about the chicken as a liminal creature, neither fully of the earth nor fully of the sky, a bird that cannot really fly, a creature that crosses the boundary between egg and chick, between wild and tame, between the ancient world and the modern one. The chicken exists at thresholds, always has. The average egg takes about 24 to 26 hours from start to finish inside the hen's body. After the previous egg is laid, the next yolk is released from the ovary within about 30 minutes. That yolk then travels down the oviduct, a tube roughly 2 feet long, picking up layer after layer of albumin, membranes, and finally the shell over the course of roughly a full day. The shell itself takes around 20 hours to form, calcite crystals depositing slowly, layer by layer, around the membrane beneath it, built from calcium that the hen draws partly from her food and partly from her own bones. Yes, a hen lays eggs partly at the cost of her own skeleton. Calcium is mobilized from the bones during the night, used to build the shell, and then replenished from the food she eats during the day. If calcium intake is insufficient, the eggs become thin-shelled or soft. The hen's body is managing a continuous calcium economy, balancing her own skeletal integrity against the demands of production. The egg, so simple in your hand, is expensive. It costs something. To make it, the hen gives a little of herself every day. A fertilized egg begins to develop. As soon as it reaches a warm temperature, which is why eggs for incubation must be stored below a certain warmth and incubated deliberately and carefully. An egg sitting in a warm room has already begun to change. Not fast enough to matter for cooking, but the biology has shifted. Development has, technically, begun. The egg is alive, in a sense, long before the chick inside it is recognizable as such. From the moment of fertilization, the biological clock is running. The process moves whether anyone is watching or not, whether the hen is sitting on it or it is resting in a barn. Life moves toward itself, quietly, regardless. The process of incubation, a hen sitting on her eggs, is an act of patient, thermally precise dedication. A sitting hen maintains her eggs at a temperature of around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Not exactly, but close enough for development to proceed. She turns the eggs, rotating them several times a day, to ensure even heating and prevent the embryo from sticking to the inner membrane. She gets up to eat and drink, briefly, and returns quickly. In the heat of the day, she may spread her wings slightly, to provide shade rather than warmth. In cool weather, she settles lower, puffing her feathers to insulate. She reads the temperature through her breast, through the warm, bare skin of her brood patch, pressed directly against the eggs, and adjusts constantly, minute by minute. 3 weeks of this. 3 weeks of patience and warmth, and quiet vigilance, without knowing what is growing beneath her. Or perhaps, in some way we cannot know, knowing exactly. There are approximately 20,000 people in the world whose job it is to determine the sex of newly hatched chicks. They are called chick sexers, and the best of them can process up to 1,000 chicks an hour. Picking each one up, examining a small opening at the base of the tail, and placing the chick in one of 2 streams, in a fraction of a second. The method is called vent sexing, and it requires the identification of extremely subtle anatomical differences that are almost imperceptible to an untrained eye. Some of the most skilled sexers cannot fully explain how they do it. The skill has moved beyond conscious analysis into something more like intuition, pattern recognition operating below the level of thought. They see something, feel something, and a hand moves. The chick is placed, and the hand reaches for the next one. Expert chick sexers are said to dream about chicks, to see the patterns even when they close their eyes. A skill so deep, it lives in the sleep. The sounds of a chicken farmyard have been described by many writers as among the most comforting and timeless sounds in the world. The low, steady clucking of hens, the distant crow of a rooster, the soft, urgent peeping of chicks, the rustle of feathers, the scratch of claws on dry ground. These are sounds that human beings have been hearing every single day for 8,000 years. They are baked into the human experience in a way that almost nothing else is. Cities come and go. Languages rise and fall. Empires crumble. But somewhere, every morning, a rooster crows, and a hen clucks low in her throat, and the sounds of life begin again, as they always have, as they will. There is a concept in farming called the hen yard, the space immediately around the house or barn where chickens scratch freely. In older agricultural societies, this space was part of the domestic sphere, tended by women, part of the household economy, a source of both food and income. The egg money, the cash a farm wife could earn from selling eggs, was often her own, independent of the larger farm economy, controlled by men. The chickens, scratching around the yard, were, in many families, a form of financial independence for the women who kept them. The humble hen, with her steady supply of eggs, was a quiet economic actor, contributing to the household, to the community, in ways that history has not always noticed, but that were real and significant. The hen yard, as a space of small, daily, economic power. In many parts of the world, the backyard chicken movement has grown significantly in recent years. People in cities and suburbs who have access to a modest outdoor space have begun keeping small flocks of hens for eggs and companionship. The reasons people give vary. Fresher eggs, connection to food systems, interest in sustainable living, or simply the pleasure of watching chickens. And that last reason turns out to be more common than you might expect. Chicken watching, sitting quietly near a small flock, watching them go about their day, has been described by many keepers as deeply calming. The low sounds, the slow movements, the purposeful pecking, the occasional bright eye turned toward you. There is a quality of simple, unhurried presence in a flock of chickens that people find grounding. Watching chickens, it turns out, is a form of rest. The world slows down. The ordinary becomes enough. Chickens have been to space. Or at least, chicken eggs have. Fertilized quail eggs were carried aboard the Soviet space station Mir in the 1980s and 90s to study the effects of microgravity on bird embryo development. Quail are not chickens, but they are closely related, and the experiments were part of a broader investigation into how life develops without the pull of gravity. The results were complex. Some embryos developed successfully, some did not, revealing that gravity plays roles in early development that were not previously understood. A bird egg floating in space, thousands of miles above the Earth, warming, dividing, trying to become. Life testing itself against conditions it was never designed for, quietly, determinedly, regardless. Chickens in cold climates face a particular challenge: frostbite on their combs, wattles, and feet. This is why certain breeds have been developed with features that reduce frostbite risk. Smaller combs, denser feathering, feathered legs. Chickens that live in cold climates will also grow thicker down undercoats in winter, their bodies reading the declining day length and the dropping temperature, and responding by growing warmer insulation. In a cold snap, you may find your chickens roosting closer together than usual, pressed wing to wing, sharing body heat. The flock, as a collective body, keeping each other warm. The individual birds becoming, for the coldest nights, a single living entity of warmth and feathers and shared breath. In the heat of summer, chickens pant. They do not sweat the way humans do. Their skin cannot release heat through perspiration, so they pant with their beaks open, allowing evaporation from the moist surfaces of the throat and lungs to carry heat away. They seek shade instinctively. They spread their wings slightly, finding air. They drink more water. They reduce their movement. A chicken on a hot day is a creature managing its own temperature with the tools it has: shade, water, stillness, evaporation. Not unlike a person seeking a cool corner on a summer afternoon. The same problem, different feathers. The word chicken has entered the English language in a surprising number of idioms. Chicken-hearted. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Running around like a headless chicken. Fly the coop. Come home to roost. A pecking order. Cooped up. Each of these phrases carries the actual behavior of real chickens inside it. A headless chicken really does run around briefly after decapitation, the nervous system making one last burst of motion. Chickens really do come home to roost each evening. Reliably, one of the most predictable behaviors in farming. Eggs really do not become chickens until they hatch, and many don't. The flock really does establish and maintain a pecking order. The language holds these creatures lightly, casually, the way a long familiarity holds things. Not carefully, but everywhere, woven through the ordinary speech of a people who grew up alongside them. There are chickens living in cities, not just in backyard coops, but feral. In certain cities, particularly in subtropical climates, populations of feral chickens have established themselves in parks, vacant lots, along roadsides. Key West, Florida, is famous for this. Hundreds of chickens wandering freely through the streets, roosting in trees, crowing at dawn. They are descendants of domestic chickens that escaped or were released over generations, and they have slowly reverted towards something a little more like their wild ancestors. Leaner, faster, more alert, more willing to perch high in trees. The Key West chickens are a protected species in the town, and removing them is a complicated civic matter. They are considered both a nuisance and a mascot, a piece of the city's character. Chickens that walked back, partway, toward the wild, right in the middle of human civilization, crowing every morning, to no one in particular. In Kauai, Hawaii, feral chickens are an even more significant presence. The island has tens of thousands of feral chickens, the result of domestic birds escaping, combined with the fact that Kauai has no significant predators for ground-dwelling birds. They are everywhere, along the beach, in the resort gardens, in the forests, in the parking lots. They wake you up at 3 in the morning, and they are there when you fall asleep. Some visitors love them. Some find them maddening, but they are undeniably present. Alive, thriving, doing what chickens do. when left to their own devices, in a warm and predator-free world. Foraging, roosting, crowing, living. The island's oldest and most insistent residents. The chicken, in all of this, is a creature of extraordinary resilience. It has traveled to every continent. It has adapted to nearly every climate. It has survived thousands of years of domestication and remained, at its core, something recognizable as itself. The same scratch-peck-cluck pattern, the same social hierarchy, the same morning crow, the same careful turning of eggs, the same wide-eyed watch of the sky for the shadow of a hawk. Thousands of years of living with humans, and the chicken has not forgotten what it is. It remains, in some essential way, a wild creature that has agreed to live alongside us. Or perhaps a creature that we have arranged our world around so thoroughly that the arrangement now feels natural on both sides. Every egg contains a kind of promise, a sealed space in which something is waiting, becoming, growing toward an opening it cannot yet imagine. There is a quality to that image that feels true, beyond the biology. We spend so much of our lives in something like incubation, waiting, forming, not yet ready, not yet complete. And then something shifts, and we crack open, and the world rushes in. The egg knows this. The chicken knows this, in its long, slow way, pecking at the ground. Of an ordinary morning, the chicken carries the whole story. Let us linger now in the last of these facts, the last of these small lights, and let them come to rest. The oldest chicken bone ever found was discovered in a site in Israel and dates to around 2,300 years ago, a layer of ancient refuse containing the discarded bones of a meal. Someone ate a chicken there long ago, and that bone lay in the earth for 23 centuries until a scientist found it and looked at it carefully enough to understand what it was. The ordinary traces of an ordinary life lasting far longer than anyone expected. A hen's heartbeat is between 200 and 312 beats per minute. Fast, quick, small. So much life compressed into that rapid rhythm. So much motion in that small chest under all those feathers. A tiny heart working fast, all day, through the scratching and pecking and preening and roosting, until the darkness comes and the bird goes still on its perch, and the heartbeat slows slightly into sleep. The number of eggs laid by chickens globally in a single year is estimated at over 1 trillion. 1 trillion eggs. Set end to end, they would circle the earth thousands of times. Stacked, they would rise past the moon. Each one of those eggs was built inside a hen, layer by layer, in about 24 hours, using calcium drawn partly from her bones, laid with a small, quiet push into whatever space her body had made ready. 1 trillion small, quiet acts of biology and industry and life. Scientists who study animal welfare have suggested that the capacity for suffering and the capacity for positive states, something like pleasure or contentment, are likely present in chickens to a meaningful degree. Not in the same way they are present in humans, not in the same depth or complexity, perhaps, but in some form. A chicken that is warm, well-fed, socially connected, able to dust bathe and forage and roost, is a chicken whose body and behavior reflect something we might recognize as well-being. And the inverse is also true. A chicken that is denied these things shows signs of what looks very much like distress. The chicken that settled quietly into the warmth of a familiar nest, the chicken that found a good patch of soil and bathed slowly in the afternoon sun. The chicken was, in some small but real way, happy. And now, as we reach the final of these 100 quiet facts, let us simply sit with the chicken for a moment. Not as a food source or a research model, or a cultural symbol or an ancient domesticate. Just as an animal. A small, feathered, warm-blooded creature that hatches from an egg and finds its mother's voice already familiar because they spoke through the shell. That scratches the earth with the feet of a dinosaur. That sees in colors you cannot see. That sleeps with one eye open and one eye closed. That dreams, perhaps, in the dark warmth of a familiar roost. That has a heartbeat and a history and a place in the world that goes back 8,000 years. That is, in some important sense, a dinosaur. That is, in some important sense, ancient. That crosses your yard in the morning light with exactly as much dignity as any creature in any era. The most common bird on Earth. 33 billion lives going on right now, at this moment, as you lie here in the dark. And now, let the day go. Let the facts drift softly out of reach, like feathers on still air. Feel the weight of the bed beneath you, the warmth of the dark around you. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Somewhere, a hen is settling onto her perch for the night. Somewhere, a clutch of eggs is warm and growing, barely. Somewhere, a rooster is already dreaming of the morning he has not yet called into being. And you are here. Still, safe, quiet. Let your eyes close, if they haven't already. Let the world grow soft around the edges. Let your breath do what it knows how to do, without any help from you. You are 33 billion heartbeats away from the most common bird on Earth. You are 66 million years away from the first dinosaur that ever cast a shadow on a warm stone. You are here, now, alive. And that is the only fact that needs to matter tonight. Rest. You are small and ancient and safe. And the world will still be there. In the morning. Let it wait.